Well, I don't know about you, but when I was starting out, in my career, man, I was running around my head of my butt most of the time. I had no idea what the hell was I doing, and I had no credentials. I mean, when I started in life, man, I was thrown out of high school. Yeah, actually, that was for grades, but I was thrown out of classes most of the time, too, for just screwing around. I mean, it wasn't malicious stuff or whatever, and I barely got into college somewhere and just snuck on that through and got a degree by the skin of my teeth, and then went to Vietnam because of the draft and all that kind of stuff. Then I came back, man, and I thought I needed all this stuff and I was going to conquer the world and be so successful. So I went and got an MBA. Man, that's when I first studied, first time in my life. Then I was starting businesses, man, and they were failing. Everything I started was failing. I even had a computer software company, got my MBA in computers, and that failed. It's amazing, everything I was failing. Yeah, and I couldn't do anything right. And that's when I realized, man, something has to change. You can't be doing the same thing in life and expect to get different results. Then I started realizing, God, I was trying to do things like everybody said. My professors, the people who taught me how to start businesses in MBA school, the experts, the seminars I went to, and the media, even family and friends, trying to do it like everybody told me to do. And it wasn't working. So that's why I said, man, I gotta change. And that's when I start thinking more philosophical, not just on tricks and techniques and stuff like that. No, big picture items, how to look at things differently. And that's when I started seeing opportunities that I never saw before. And that's when the magic happened. And that's what I want to share with you in this video, man. Because it's how you see things. It's not, showing you one website and things like that. Maybe that's a part of it or whatever. But until you realize that you're more powerful than you think you are, and it all comes not maybe everything, but so much comes from the inside. And you got to use that inside and look at things differently. So you see opportunities, that other people aren't seeing. And that's what these 33 videos are all about. These little short videos, 2-3 minutes or whatever a piece, maybe 4 or 5 at the most, that talk about things, things like that, how to think outside the box kind of thing, but really, completely outside the box, and things that people aren't telling you, like don't be afraid of anything. That's the first video. See, look at that one if you don't look at anything at all. And that's so important. Or how to stop getting screwed in life, right? None of us want to do that. Or what do you do when everybody calls you a liar? So what do you do when everybody thinks you're full of baloney? Or here, the best advice an expert can give you is, I ain't got no idea, because we're all guessing. And that's why we run to these experts, and that's why I discuss all these kinds of things in each of the video. Or 3 things to do when life ain't working for you. Or 7 things not to do when you're looking for a grant or any kind of free money. Or why the government is a pain in the ass, but how to use it. Or here's why it's so hard to get a job or start a business in today's economy. Or getting an easy job is dumb. Easy is dumb. Or forget Black Friday. I'll show you the best bargain present ever. Or you ain't doing shit in life unless you have failures. Or how's it? If you're gonna make it here in the USA, you have to learn about Shanghai. And this is my comment on that. I spent a week or 2 over there. Unique, meaningful, and bargain price gifts for loved ones are now available anywhere, anytime, and I'll show you about that. Don't trust a grand salesman on the web. Go to free seminars that experts will teach you that and won't sell you anything. And how your bitching and moaning and complaining can help the world and make you money. Or in the new economy, experts are ripping you off and also making you sick. Or why starting your own business now is becoming more important than ever before. Or what the hell is taking you so long to take advantage of free money from the government and the internet? Huh? Tell me that. But I'll show you probably what to do with that. Or you have to keep fucking up in life. Now, that's what life is about. So don't worry. Or here's another one I like. Assholes deserve to be treated fairly too. They're my 2 curse words in 2 videos. How to live a life that fills your heart and your wallet. Or acting professional is just an excuse to screw you. That's what I think everybody does with it. Or spending a career only trying to make money is like having a relationship only for sex. So be careful what you're doing. You'll never find the perfect job. You have to make one. Or why dads should give back their Father's Day gifts. Or this study shows that going to Harvard ain't worth it at all. Or here's why having goals are dumb. That's dumb. Or why you should enjoy the bad times too. Bad is very important in life, and we sort of steer away from it. If you're afraid a business will fail, then you're never going to get married, because more marriages fail than businesses. If your job is like an arranged marriage, so many jobs are like that. You're there for convenience and you really don't love each other or whatever. What the hell are you doing? It's a long goddamn day. Here's why you hate going to work in the morning. Okay, here's another one. Fun is the best way to increase your chance of success in life. Or millionaires come from people who start their own small businesses. That's what the data show. And here's the last one. I'm just sitting here failing all day. What the hell are you doing? And these videos, you can watch one at a time, or just when you want to have shake your brain up a little bit. Man, I don't know the answer to everything. I'm struggling like everybody else. But I know that to find any opportunity that's around, you can't be thinking in that old paradigm that everybody else does. Believe what the professors tell you. Believe what the media tells you. We know better than that, but it's hard to be encouraged to think that way. And that's what these videos are there for. So you can get the whole book by going to letsgovideoebook.com. And it's there with my other video ebooks. The price is next to nothing. So just enjoy it and try to give as much as you can in life. That's what it's all about. Now, the best advice an expert could give you is that they have no idea what the answer is. Right, they're all guessing. No one can know. See, the only thing they can really tell you is like what happened yesterday or what worked yesterday. But that's not going to work anymore, is it? Or they could tell you what somebody else did, but that's not going to work for you either. That's the way the world is. And it's too bad because, what you really have to realize is that whatever you're doing now, if it's not working, you gotta change it because it's not gonna, the world is not gonna change. The world has changed around you, so you have to change what you're doing. The other thing you have to realize that you can't throw money at a problem. If you keep throwing money at a problem, the only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna go broke because the problem will still be there. And the third thing you gotta realize is that doing nothing is the worst thing that could happen. Because doing nothing leads to nothing. So nothing's gonna change if you're doing nothing. Now what I wanna do is show you like new ways to do things in life, because there are so many new ways. There's non-traditional ways of getting the job done or solving a problem or achieving your goals in life, and they don't cost money. So how to achieve your goals without costing any money. And that's why you wanna turn into letsgofreeradio.com every week. And I'll show you stuff like that to get done. Okay, there's an important study that came out this week. I think it's really important. Education is so important in our society, and the cost is going through the roof, and it's stopping people from really getting the education they need. And what this study says is something I've really never seen so definitive before in all the data that's come out about the value of college. And this says that, it's stupid to go to Harvard, or any high-class, high-paying or high-cost school. I mean, it doesn't pay to go to Harvard. It's not worth it. And this study is quite comprehensive. It studied like 30,000 college graduates from 1959 to present. And it evaluated their life after they went to college. Now, how good their life was, and not only money, but evaluate how much money they make, how's their social well-being, as they call it, their purpose well-being. Are they doing something worthwhile in life? Their community well-being, and even their physical well-being. So it really judges the whole person, their outcome, in life, how well they did in life, and they matched it up with what kind of college they went to. And the most amazing thing, I mean, you do just as well in life if you went to Harvard or if you went to Podunk U out in the middle of nowhere. So that means you could be saving yourself $100,000 and having the same outcome in life. And the other thing it shows is that debt, the higher you have debt from college, the worse your life is. I mean, that's amazing, because so many people are going into debt to get a college degree because they think that it's important. And this data shows absolutely. Look at these statistics here. Well, first of all, the name of the study. You want to Google it, get the facts. Don't trust one huckster like me telling you about this. You could find out about all the details of this study by just Googling Great Jobs, Great Life. And it's a study 2014 by Gallup and Purdue University. Great Jobs, Great Life. Okay, here's the two basic graphs in here. You see all graduates, thriving well-being. Okay, they're the most, you have the most successful life or not in all these categories. And for all graduates, it's like 11%. That's how many have a perfect life in every category. So 11%. But it's the same for public school. It's the same for a private not-for-profit school, like Harvard and things like that. So whether you go to a public university or you go to Harvard, it's the same success rate. I mean, that's what's amazing. If you go to a very selective public school or a very selective private school, it's almost the same. But even if you go to one of the best schools in the country, ranked by U.S. World Report, it's the same. It doesn't matter. That's right. Except there's one exception, and that's private for-profit universities. The universities that are private companies, and there's a lot of them on the New York Stock Exchange making a lot of money out of this. And if you go to one of them, you have a lousier life outcome versus all the other universities. And that's significant to me, because they're making a lot of money because they're making you get a loan to go to their school. They make 80-90% of all their money comes from government subsidized money. So that's why it's important, I think, to know the data. It's so we chase things, we don't know why we're chasing them, in our lives, because somebody else says it's cool, and so we want to be part of the cool kids or whatever. But when you get the data and you see the people who go to these places have no more success in life than people who don't, man, I mean, and this is data of 30,000 people. So that's very important. Now here's the other thing, the debt. Now look at this graph. Okay, how successful are you? Or you're depending on how much debt you have, what is your well-being for that? Okay, if you have no debt from college, you have a more successful overall life in everything. That means your social life, your financial life, your physical life, how healthy you are, all these kinds of things. I mean, these people work like hell doing this study. With no debt. The higher debt you have, the less success you have in your life after college. I mean, to me, the phenomenal statistics, and I'm sure there's some flaws in the data or everything, and you can find outliers and stuff like that. But other data I've seen before sort of match up. There was a wonderful study done a few years back about the income from going to a prestigious university. And you can't just take everybody went to Harvard, what's their income is 10 years later, and everyone go to Podunk University, what their income is, because they're different people, right? But what they did a study on the people who accepted to Harvard and Podunk, but they went to Podunk instead. So they could have gone either. And those people had the same income after, like 10, 15, 20 years or whatever, after going to Podunk when they were accepted in Harvard. So, I mean, that is pretty telling. That's why, I mean, it seems to me education is so important in our society, and we're putting people in debt, that going to places that aren't worth it, is the most important thing. So what to do, I think, if you're thinking about more higher education, you do. I mean, I think about it even myself all the time at my age. I'm going to live another 20 years. I want to be prepared. So the first thing you do, I think there's three things you should think about. One is don't go to a for-profit college. This data really proves that. Okay, so that's one. You strike that off the list. Next is you sacrifice as much as you can and all the other requirements in life, so you don't have that college debt, whatever it is. You're going to get a part-time job, you're going to do, you want to stay around away from that college debt, because that's going to hurt you for the rest of your life. Okay, the third thing I think you must do is, before you go, if you want to go to Harvard, whatever the university it is, first check your local community college. Because they have so many great programs, either a 2-year program, 1-year program. The tuition is only $1,000. You don't have to pay $50,000. So maybe you spend 2 years there, and then go somewhere else, to somewhere that has the real thing you need, and you get all the those junky courses you got to take out of the way at no cost. Or there's other things. You get a 2-year course, and then start a job at $50,000, and that could cost you nothing because they have money to pay for that. Things like that. Or maybe you can take just a 3-month course, and start a whole new career, on a technical career that's really in demand, and it only takes a few months. That's why those community colleges, I think, are the first place to touch base, no matter what you're thinking about, for the first time you got in higher education, or even going back to higher education. And you could look at this website, AACC, American Association of Community Colleges, .nche.edu. That's AACC.nche.edu, right? Education is important, but it's not worth ruining your life to get it. Okay, now here's a young man, really fascinating, really, because he's doing something now that's training people how to do something he wanted to do. He always wanted to have another job than the one he had, so he was doing is having jobs on the side. That he would, he worked for a big car company or automobile manufacturer or whatever, and he didn't like the job, wanted to do something else, but, he didn't have enough money, power, guts, or whatever, to jump off the cliff and just do something. So he started it on the side, and he started a little web-based business, on the side. Actually, it was shoes. It was a comparison shopping thing for shoes, and he didn't know much about the internet or all this kind of stuff. He just figured it out. Sure, it's not easy. Nothing's in life is really easy, but if it's something that you're interested in, you have motivation for, you will figure it out. I mean, look at all the crazy, idiot, stupid people that are doing things in life, They just want to do it, and they figure it out. Look at the campaign for president. All these people look like they have IQs too above plant life. And they're figuring out, and they're running for president, aren't they? That's what our life is about. That you want to try it and do it, and you figure it out as you go along. And we all say, boy, I can't do this because, and we have 15 reasons why we can't do things in life. And that's nuts, really, because look at all the crazy, stupid people running things. That's when I used to work for somebody, man. In 6 months, I thought the person was an idiot, I was working for. And I said, I'd rather have other people call me an idiot. Work for me. But what he does now is help people find out how to make money on the side while you're figuring out how to jump ship and do something else full time. And so that's what he's got a blog, and he figured all that, and with no money. See, he could do all this thing with no income. You don't have to have a big war chest to do these kinds of things. No, it's a trial and error. You try something. And nobody knows exactly what works. So, you read a couple articles and, well, that sounds interesting to work. And you just try that. You don't have to be guaranteed, because there are no guarantees. Nobody knows for sure. Any idea you take is probably going to fail anyway. So take the best one that you think is maybe okay. Try that, let it fail, and see what that teaches you. It's sort of like if you're getting up to hit a baseball for the first time, you don't know, the ball's coming at you. You're going to try to hit the sucker, right? And when you whiff a couple of, well, hey, you'll get a little smarter at doing that. But you don't hit home runs off the park. Everybody wants to hit a home run off the park. They want to go sit in the classroom, and say, okay, if I just do this and do that, and have experts tell you, step by step what to do. You get out there, holy shit, that ball's coming, and you just swing. And that's what life is about. So just get up there and feel that ball whizzing by, and then, and you see it didn't kill you, and you figure out the next step. Because the people are going to tell you how to hit it, it probably won't work for you anyway. So you got to figure it out yourself. Anything you do and anything that's new is like that. So what he does is show little opportunities to make extra income on the side. That doesn't cost any money. And see, what's neat about all the extra income sources now that are out there, there's no investment. Anybody you go on the internet now and say, well, just give me $500 and I'll show you how to make money. Nah, forget those people. Don't give money to anybody who promise you to make money. And because you don't have to, there's other ways. And why give somebody money when you know it doesn't, you're probably not going to work anyway. 9 out of 10 times what you're going to do, it won't work. But you got to go through those 9 times to figure it out. And if you're spending money every time you do that, then you're going to be SOL, shit out of luck, And that's why it's easier now than ever before to do that. You could fail for free and just keep going, keep figuring out. And that's what life is about. At my age, I'm sort of trying to figure it out all over again because there's a whole new world out there and it's fun. Particularly if you're in charge, or whatever. You're making the decisions. That's the fun part. That's the growth part. So we could give harder doing that. So watch this interview. Well, Nick Loper of SideHustleNation.com, and you're the guru of making money on the side until you get rid of that job you have that you're in jail every day and you can't jump bail one day. You start something on the side. You got the side hustle, right? You started on the side. Why watch shitty television when you can have a side hustle making money that eventually leads into a whole new career, right? That's what you did, right? You had a job with some big automobile company, and what happened?
That's what it's all about. I built a footwear comparison shopping site.
Did you have a shoe fetish or something? Or?
I was probably my own worst. Everybody makes like the Al Bundy jokes, right?
Yeah.
It was probably my own worst customer. Probably about like 3 pairs.
I see. Oh no, you should see my closet. And so how or why? Why? So in other words, this is like a blog you started on the internet?
This was like a kind of a database-driven site. So it was like a catalog aggregator. So Zappos, Amazon, like all these big stores would send me their catalogs, and I would mash them together and be able to say who's got the best deal on this particular pair of shoes.
Oh, terrific. And so you started this on the side while you had a full-time gig, right?
Yeah, so it was nights and weekends for me for 3 years before I felt comfortable quitting my job. Probably stuck around a little bit longer than I needed to. A little bit conservative, a little risk averse on that front.
Well, that's okay. You know what I read? I don't know if you know the book, and you may be interested in it. It's called Originals. It's a great book about this kind of stuff we're talking about. They say people who don't quit their day job are more successful at starting a businesses than those who just jump in 2 feet first.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, real good data. He's got, these are eggheads from big universities, and studied entrepreneurs for 15 years, and you have a 30% greater chance of success if you don't quit your day job.
Okay. I like that backs up my theory.
I know, right? So you'll see a lot of good data in that book for Side Hustle Nation. That's what you need. So it took you 3 years, and then you had enough. And so how long did you work, in general before you started? When did you starting that in your career?
So I actually started that thing while I was still in school.
Oh, I see. Oh, cool.
After getting hired, moving across the country, it became pretty apparent. It was kind of a scary thought to stick around there for the next 30 years. I got to figure out how to build a ladder, how to get out. And so had this little thing on the side, no website at that point, just very targeted advertising, trying to sell individual pairs of shoes. And wasn't very scalable. And so I figured the website was the way to scale it up.
I see. So website was, so after 3 years putzing around on the weekends, better than playing lousy golf on the weekends, right? Because I got you out of this lousy job. And that is sort of a whole new career that you just educate people about side hustles, how to make money. Like this one article I found from you, like 15 apps that people use to make money on the side, right?
Yeah, so this is part of like the the sharing economy, the peer-to-peer economy, which if you think about going back 200 years, that was the economy.
Yeah, exactly.
We've kind of gone to the point of like, well, now I've got to do business with a big corporation, where these apps are kind of remove like disintermediation, which say big words. And
I don't even know what that means. So
letting people do business with people.
I see, right.
So I'm using platforms like Prosper.com to lend money to people who need business and need money to start their own business, or do debt consolidation or whatever. Udemy.com lets me like teach courses to other people. There's a whole like we talked about Etsy, where it's like I can't knit anything, but you can sell stuff on Etsy, and there's just dozens of these that pop up all the time. I think Uber and Airbnb are probably the poster children for the peer-to-peer economy.
But there's millions, I don't know millions, but tens of thousands maybe of these little websites, local and national and international, I would think now. And then if you throw in...
Startup for everything.
Right, crowdfunding. But I guess to me what it does, it does the marketing for you, is to me what these websites do, these platforms, because people are coming for help there and you're there, It's like, having your store in a mall or in a side alley somewhere, right?
That's a great analogy. That's actually one of the common themes of the Side Hustle Show podcast is like taking advantage of these pre-existing marketplaces.
Yeah.
Like, where can I put my
exactly
online? Rather than shouting into the wind in that dark back alley.
Exactly.
Here's a marketplace. Somebody else has already gone through the trouble, raised the venture capital probably to build that two-sided marketplace, which is really difficult to do to get a critical mass of
absolutely.
And it's like, hey, why not say I could sell something on here?
Exactly. And they don't charge you anything to get a store in their mall.
It's not too bad. Well, they'll take a cut of any sales.
Yeah, but not to start. Sure, if you had sales, then they take a cut. But it's like starting to see if there's anything there. So it's not like to get in a real mall, you got to give some guy a couple $100,000 or something like that.
Right.
To get in. No, and that's what I think it's so great, man. And so now it's easier than ever for people to side hustle and get rid of their day job eventually because of all these platforms. Yeah. So what's the downside of doing something like this, you feel? What should people worry about?
Well, on the downside, I think there's a lot of implications where we have an insurance system that's tied primarily to employment. We have kind of you're not in full control of your destiny. We've seen like Uber, for example, has reduced their driver rates pretty consistently over the last couple of years, where it's like used to be, hey, make $40 driving for Uber.
Exactly.
It's like, well, make $15. So, and they're, like we talked about, they're not dumb about it. They're kind of trying to find that equilibrium between supply and demand, and they still have plenty of drivers on the road. So they say, okay, we'll see how low we can go.
But again, it's not. I mean, if you know the alternative, but that's in a normal business. You have that supply and demand too. I mean, the people who are out of work making pagers or whatever the heck it was. I mean, things change. But I think what your point was, it seems like the regulatory. If you have any power in the system, not as a normal employee.
Yeah, if you're building your entire business on somebody else's platform, that's an inherently risky place to be.
But so you're right. So now to me, but you go to many people I talk to from Etsy are also over on Amazon. They also on their own website. You could be everywhere. You have a store in 4 different malls. So
absolutely. So I think kind of the smartest people doing this, like using these platforms as like a jumping off point.
Yes.
It's like I'm going to use this to kind of accelerate a launch pad to start my own thing.
And to prove a market, because you say about yelling out the window and nobody hearing, at least you have people there, you get a feedback. To me, crowdfunding is the same kind of way, at least it costs nothing to see if your idea is full of shit.
Crowdfunding is a mystery. Like, I don't understand how some guys' potato salad can.
I know, right.
Other people, like, legitimate business that they like poured their blood, sweat, and tears into, just dies like it does.
Who knows? Well, if Bernie and Trump are the 2 headliners in the race, man, things are different. That's right.
Have a good time this fall.
Yeah. You can't guess or understand what's going on. You just have to observe it and use it or don't use it, it seems. Yeah. And this is where the new jobs are created. I mean, you say Airbnb and Uber. Man, I mean, like Airbnb's the same market value as like Hyatt hotels, but they only have 2,000 employees and Hyatt Hotel has 150,000.
Big global footprint of real estate and overhead.
Exactly, all that kind of stuff. But there's a million people making a buck off it. Yeah.
It's really kind of cool, and we've stayed in a dozen Airbnbs as we travel.
Yeah, I do too.
Really cool experience.
Oh, wonderful.
For both parties.
Absolutely.
It's unused inventory, and I'm making money, and on the other hand, I've got a more local experience when I travel.
Absolutely. What I find too, we have an apartment downtown DC. We use it a lot. People are leaving it cleaner than we gave it to them.
They're nervous about getting a bad review.
Exactly right. When I stay at Hyatt, I don't give a shit. Hyatt doesn't care if I do it either. They just want my money.
Right.
So it's really cool. No, I believe it. So your website is the place where you keep up on a lot of this stuff. And at sidehustlenation.com, you're trying to teach other people how to do that, take control of their life from these other little gigs, whether it's, you want to be a bicycle messenger and only work. To me, the other thing about these things is, we're working for Uber or one of these other places with a platform, you work when you want to, And it's not, you're going to deliver pizza for the local pizza place. He wants you there 5 to 10 every bloody day,
Yeah, you get some flexibility built into this stuff, which is really appealing.
Yeah.
If you don't want that structure of like, I'm going to go clock in.
Oh, no. That's jail. That's you're willing to put it up with it on your time, but on somebody else's time, then it feels, it's hard. Right. Well, you're a delight. Thank you for sharing with us, Nick. Nice finding you, and you have a lot of books in the works that people are going to learn about and learn how to make money with, and it's at sidehustlenation.com. You go there, you have a blog, a podcast, stuff like that, and you can find out about your new books coming out there, right?
Thank you so much, Matthew. All sorts of part-time business ideas too.
Wonderful. No, that's what I believe in. So thank you so much for being there, Nick. Take care. Okay, you may not realize this, but just because you speak English, you have like a 90% better chance of being qualified for the new economy. Now, you may not realize this, but just because you speak English, you'll have an up, that's me, you'll have an edge on getting over 90% of the new jobs in this country, or any country, just because you speak English. See, the whole world wants to speak English. And now you can work from anywhere in the world. So if you're here in America or in Portugal or in China or whatever, you could get a job easier speaking English than you can anywhere else. And actually, even here, you could work for people all over the world because you speak English. English is the is the language of commerce all over the world. Everyone's trying to learn it. And actually, even the universities over in Europe are going to have all their classes in English because that's what's happening. Everybody in Japan wants to speak English. In Korea they all want to speak English. Everywhere in the world, India or whatever, because that's where the business is. So you could be sitting right here in America and be on one of these websites where you could show your talent. Hey, I could answer phones for you. I could do office work for you. I could do engineering work for you. I could do tax work for you. Any kind of thing you want to do remotely, right from home. And because you speak English, you have more skills than 90% of the people in the world. See, that's what's so cool. Because now I hire people all over the world. Everyone does, and that's right. English is the language, that most people are working in, and that's what's so neat. So once you learn the new economy and what's going on the internet and how to get these jobs, where there are things like Upwork, Elance, all these kind of platforms where you put your resume on and people hire you just for short-term projects. That's what's cool. And there's dozens and dozens and dozens of places like this, to do that. So it's easy to find work right at home, and you have an edge. You have an up on like 4 to 5 billion people all over the world because you speak English. Man, everybody in this country has an edge on all the rest of the world because we're born with it. How isn't that cool? I don't know about your life, but it seems like in my life, when bad things happen in my life, it really turns out to be a wonderful thing. Sure, it's agony and pain and the worry of all that, but somehow the growth happens in life when that happens, when the big bad thing that you worried about you wish would happen, but when it happens, you find out that you can get through that. And somehow it frees you to do something that you really wanted to do in life, that you were burdened with because you were afraid of something bad happen. Like, here's a video, an interview of this woman who lost her job 10 years. Her and her husband was in mortgage banking for 10 years. A couple of years ago, they just lost it. Boop, the rug pulled right out. They sort of like their job. It's sort of like, it's sort of like a mediocre date. You don't have a better one, so you just stay there, And you could go like that for 50 years. Whoop, that's it's running by itself over here. And that's why when they got fired, man, they certainly were upset and devastated and trying to figure out what are they going to do. And you know what they did? She liked to cook on the weekends. And they turned that into a full-time business. And just on selling cake decoration stuff online, not cooking for people, but making little cake decorator things that she loved doing as a part-time job. They blew this up in a few years, to have full-time income for the family. And they're able to spend more time with their family, and they have control of their life. You can work in your underwear all day if you want. And more importantly, now it's easy. Because things like Amazon, Etsy, all these other platforms that traffic is coming. Sure, it's not real easy, but all the nonsense part is taken care of by these platforms. It's not like starting a business in the old economy. You had to go to a store, real estate, furniture, all fixtures, all this kind of stuff. No, just go to one stop, and a website is so easy. You don't even know how to spell computer, and you can now build a website. But people don't realize that, and we want to be secure and everything, when really life isn't secure at all. Man, we're all going to die anyway, right? And what's the worst that happen? You get another lousy job if something doesn't work. And see, now it doesn't take money. It takes effort, it takes perseverance, things like that. And that's why you get the perseverance if you're doing something that you like doing. If you have a mediocre job, you don't have perseverance in that job because you're just going to get the paycheck, There's no passion, love, or enthusiasm to do that every day. But just think, if you're getting up every day to do something you're really passionate about and love, and you just can't wait to do it. This is like vacation. Sure, you have worries and headaches, and that doesn't go away, but they're on your time. That's the thing. I think that stress builds up in our life when people are controlling our life. You work for somebody else, you're worried about what they're going to say, if you're doing it right, because you have no idea. They don't even know what the hell to do. So how can they tell you what to do, And so they're all struggling. They push that pressure downhill. But when you're on top and controlling your life, and you have responsibility for your life and the customers and everything, sure, it's not magic and it's some stress, but you have control of it. And that's what I think eliminates that stress that we have in our life. Is if we don't have control. And that's why working for somebody else, particularly in organizations now, that there's no love that people have for each other. You're working for that person to make them money, and they're hoping that you make them money. But God, just like her and her husband now are together working this, and it's a family operation, and it's like old times, right? On the farm, but it's not a farm. It's on the internet. And we can be self-sustaining and whatever nowadays. That's what's so neat about what's going on. Man, you don't need a mansion and 15 cars. You need to know how to make a living, support yourself, and contribute to society as much as you can. So watch this. Well, Lisa Gero, who was in the mortgage banking industry for 10 years and lost her job at the crash.
Yes.
And you're saying it's the best thing that ever happened to you, losing a job and getting into finding your passion and making money now where you're, God, I mean, you're now have a lovely family, three, I don't know, daughters, sons, or whatever, three of them anyway, three children, a husband who's in your business now too. And it all started because you both lost your job in the mortgage industry. And you were doing this on the side for a couple of years, just on weekends. And man, you blew it up into a full-time thing where you're now loving the world with your wonderful cake decorations. And to be able to stay home and love your family too.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. You know, a little bit of luck and it just took off. So we're really fortunate.
Well, but it was bad luck too. You got fired. So you had to have that bad luck to get the good luck. Yep.
Sometimes you need the bad luck to kick you in the butt to get you moving.
Exactly.
And point in the direction that you should be, or you know, someplace better.
And you were saying that you were doing this other job. I mean, you didn't even enjoy it that much, but it was a paycheck and it wasn't miserable, you know.
Well, you know, and you know, sit behind a desk all day. But it was a job, and it was a great job. It paid well, so.
And now, man, I mean, do you? I mean, it's. I mean, you seem so happy now doing it. I could see the excitement and joy in your face, and God, I mean, just think of the 10 years. I mean, what stopped you from not doing it earlier? Not getting fired? So that's what we should do, is get fired?
I guess, you know, it's a security thing. You
Yeah.
know, you're comfortable and you have kids, you know, security is super important. So
Right.
I never in a million years would have dreamed that I would be here where I am today. So,
But see, now you've created probably better security because you have control of it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can work in my PJs if I want
Right,
to.
work in your PJs, you got more security, you're not going to fire yourself, you know? And you don't have to worry about some person not liking the color of your socks and get rid of you. Being, you know, mergers and acquisitions and all this kind of stuff. And no job is safe. That's why, to me, this seems more safe than that so-called safe job.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
And what surprises me too, you weren't even a professional chef or cook or anything.
Took a few amateur cake decorating classes just because I thought it was fun, but no like formal training or anything.
But you're sugarrobotinc.com. Now that's you guys, and you're on Etsy and Amazon and all these places. But you make the most beautiful cake decorations in the world, like butterflies that look real, but you can eat them. Flowers and cartoon characters, almost anything you want.
Touch anything you want, we can make.
Wow, and it's just so, and it's not the whole cake, it's stuff you put on these, correct?
Right. So I'll let you in on a little secret. I actually don't like to bake because I'm really lazy. So I'll go to the grocery store, pick up some cupcakes.
I see.
Decorate them and put the butterflies on, and they look,
Beautiful.
you know, professional.
It looks like you made the cupcakes too. Who knows? With this beautiful artwork on it, nobody's going to notice the cupcake. And so you just started out part-time, right? While you still had, you know, that boring job on the weekend.
My creative outlet, you know,
Right.
it's something fun to do,
So-
and it just started to take off, and it snowballed, and you know, the planets aligned at the same time, and
Yeah, but see, the planet's aligning. See, to me, it's a bad planet. See, that's what the problem is. People are waiting for all the good stuff to happen. And a lot of times it takes the bad stuff to happen. So, and it's hard to go hit your foot up with a hammer to do something good, but really that's when you're motivated to do something.
yeah, absolutely. You know, sometimes it takes that really crappy thing to happen to put everything else into motion, and you know, you never.
How is it particularly must be? What's the good and bad of working with your husband?
Well, we do spend a lot of time together.
Now, is that the good or the bad?
We get along just great. He does the operations part of it, and
I
do
see.
the finance of it. So we actually make a really good team.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
it hasn't caused too many problems.
Well, I mean, God, imagine how many problems you have in work. I mean, all the problems. And it's difficult. And marriage alone is it. So, and actually now that I think of it, you talk about, I mean, that's why I think kids help a relationship, because you have something bigger to worry about instead of just you. And so maybe a business that's supporting really your whole family now.
Yeah, it is supporting our whole family. A family of 5,
Yeah, family of 5. So, I mean, that's bigger than you. So any one individual ego there, the bigger is more important because the other 4 people.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. We work well together, so it's not.
Sort of like a war that brings a country together, right? So you got to do that. So do you do big creatures too, by any chance, or is it all just small occasions?
I mean, we do custom stuff, so whatever our customers ask us for, we can make. So,
like what?
Oh gosh, let me think. One lady just asked me to do cupcake toppers of her English bulldogs.
Oh, really? Wow!
Those of her bulldog. And we made
wonderful. Well, that's wonderful. I mean, for pet lovers, could you imagine coming to a party with 6 cupcakes of the image of their dog on the cupcakes?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful gift. Yeah.
I love doing custom stuff for people.
So now when you send out, the butterflies or the bulldogs or whatever, do they come with the cupcakes, or I just put them on my cupcakes?
No. It doesn't come with cupcakes. You just put them on your cupcakes. Or you can go to the grocery store and buy cupcakes.
Buy cupcakes, like you do. Like you do. Okay. So you send them, and so even transporting them, I mean, you figured all this out. You've been in it for 10 years.
Yeah, you ship them all flat. They're flat sealed. It's a dry product, so they don't really melt or spoil in the sun or anything, which is important.
When you ship them flat, I mean, they're not flat like a paper, are they?
No, they are flat like a paper. So we put them in non-bendable packaging, and then when you open them up, they're already pre-cut, ready to use. You just, pinch them a little bit, fold them up so that you get the little fluttery wings.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. So there's like a Tinker Toy thing you put together. Is that what you mean?
No, you can just fold them just so. They're made out of wafer paper, so it sounds.
I see.
Exactly like what it is.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that's a clever idea. Man, that's what's so neat about the internet. Now we go on the big chains for this kind of stuff, and people get 1 million. I mean, the same million people are getting the same thing. Here you come to you and get something nobody else has, or a separate, category of people have. And I could get little golf clubs or whatever the heck it is, right? Well, that's wonderful. Well, it's glad to meet you, and then nice to know you're there, and that good things happen to people even after bad things happen to them, like losing their job, right?
Yes, yeah.
And to use that as an opportunity to create a whole new life. And now I feel you can live so hard and loving the rest of the world by giving them these beautiful little things you make, and then have more love for your family because you're there every day with them too.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Teenagers, you've got to be around, man, because you can't ask them what's going on. You got to intuitively know. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. And we go to sugarrobotinc.com. That's robot, ROBOT, and then INC for inc.com. Sugarrobotinc.com. Thanks. Bye. Well, I bet you didn't realize that you have the power to help 20 people become millionaires. That's right, you do. Actually, by bidding on my question mark suit. What I'm doing, all the money that people who bid on the question mark suit, I'm giving to local libraries who help people start their own business. And if you see the data in this country is that like 80% of the millionaires in this country are that way because they started their own small business. The rest have either inherited it or big time lawyers or something like that. But there was something called a millionaire next door, some professors who did all this data, and it looked like the average person in this country who's a millionaire really has a small business, has a dry cleaner or something like that. That's where the millionaires come from, starting their own own business and see what I'm doing with the money for for my question mark suits that you could have, and then walk around the street and have people smile at you all the time. Pretty girls come up and talk to you by just fitting it and get one of my suits. Because what I want is everybody to realize the power of this, and that's starting a business full-time, part-time. And what I'm doing, the money is going to local libraries who help people do that for free. You realize there's libraries around the country who sit down with you one-on-one if you're unsure about how to start a business on one of these websites or whatever, or even how to use Facebook. There's one-on-one help like that. You know, that's free. You don't have to Google for help and find this kind of stuff. It's free, you know, at the local library. So that's why I want to encourage local libraries to keep doing this. The money will go there. Go to SDETSY.com and put in handmade Matthew Lesko. And I have 2 suits. I have a jacket and a full purple suit that's available, man. And it's going to go to the highest bidder. And you know what? If you act now, that's right, if you bid now, you get a free lifetime subscription to grantsandcrowdfunding.com. Grantsandcrowdfunding.com. Give you a lifetime subscription. This is where I help you, personally myself, get all the money that's available from the government or online through peer-to-peer, you know, crowdfunding or the what do you call it, shared economy. And you get access to my 14 or 15 video ebooks I have. Download them right away. That's grantsandcrowdfunding.com. So take a look at that. Go to SD.com and put in handmade Matthew Lesko. Bid on a book. Let's help people around the country. Let's help the libraries. Man, they're an important thing in this country right now, and they're becoming even more important because Google's screwing things up. Everybody thinks that all the information's there, but it isn't. You need help, and you don't have to pay for it if you know where to go.